So we just finished up the migration. If you haven't checked out that video, I have not brought it over to YouTube yet, but I definitely still have it in my videos link. Um, I believe, yes, no, uh, yes, I do have it in my videos link. It's about 26 minutes long. If you want to get caught up or watch this and get caught up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in a new character asset. So for this, I am going to bring in a fairly easy one for now. And we can now see that we have a new character to look at after we compile some shaders. Now, this character came from the Unreal Marketplace, so it is rigged to the Unreal character. Um, the asset that I'm using right now is the Viking Warriors. Hello, I clicked you. Why you don't go nowhere? Because you're busy. Okay, fine. Um, I've used plenty of this artist's assets. He's got it labeled something different, but what I can tell you is it retargets to um, the epic skeleton very easily. So while that's loading, what we're going to do, while that's compiling shaders, we are going to look at the ACF sample player. So this has all the inputs already in it. This previously was in the plugin, so when you started a project, it was the base character blueprint. Um, the inputs are the only thing that's been moved out. You can see we're still parented to the player character blueprint that is in the engine. So why we're here is because we want to go to this character, which I already was there, and we want to go to his skeleton. So when you're going to retarget, you want to make sure that you have a rig created. If you want, you can show bones, you can show the entire hierarchy, and the reason I do that is because you can see they are they are so similar in structure. They're just a little bit different. Um, Depending on your asset. Wait a minute. That is the Unreal character. Duh. I opened the wrong skeleton. I want this skeleton. We can see that this skeleton is the same. Sorry. Now the difference is that whereas this one has a rig, mine does not. So you may have this with an asset. If it's structured to the Unreal Engine, hey Roosevelt, Roosevelt, probably, Roosevelt, Teddy. So we're going to select a humanoid rig and double check root. All these are capital letters. All these are capital letters. Because this is built on the Unreal Engine mannequin, I can tell you for a fact that um, they are the same structure just by doing a generated rig. So the next thing we want to do is we want to view the pose um, to make sure that they're both in the same settled pose. So if you're using a character other than the Unreal Engine character's skeleton, this is where you start to get on your own if you want to do retargeting, because you have to get your characters laid out and mapped the same way. If there's enough ask for it, I'll do a video on it, but I'm not a pro at it, and a lot of times I get frustrated and angry, so I just stick to characters that have the Unreal Engine mannequin yet, because there are plenty of tools out there that let you create a character um, based on the Unreal skeleton. Um, and you can add to it, like, I've seen hair bones or pectoral bones or breast bones so that you can get motion in those. Um, You can go crazy how you want, but you still the root structure has to be the same. It's just easier that way. So since both are the same architecture, now since we we want to save this because we changed the pose. If your character is in something other than the T pose, but they're mapped to the UE4 skeleton, you can modify pose, reset pose, then modify pose and use current pose, and that will make him that should reset him from the T pose down to an A pose and get him spaced out correctly. And then when you say use that pose, that tells it that that's its new retargeting pose. So now when it comes to retargeting, there's a couple options. I'm gonna probably go through a couple because I'm gonna probably prep to show how to make a different animation montage for like an attack or something. Or we're gonna create a new one and we'll muddle through it together. Where do I store all my blueprints, Roosevelt? So since I am starting with his, I personally, my goal would be to eliminate his folder by the time I'm said and done. So I would create a new folder called blueprints, and we'll get to that because I was about to get to that. Um, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Let me finish getting the skeleton retargeted, and then we'll get to that step next. So we're gonna save all just because the primary mesh that was bound to the skeleton when you rig it will show that it's changed. Um, so so you can I don't know. This is the intricacies I don't know about retargeting. Um, the guy who I got these assets from, his tutorial video a long time ago just showed him deleting this asset. A lot of tutorials that I've seen afterwards show to retarget it first. Um, that should copy sockets over. Should. Um, and bone structures like hair and those excess bones that are not there. And then we're going to double check that real quick to see do we have any. We don't have any. I'm not seeing any sockets. I'm not seeing any sockets. And let's double check. Skeleton. We got some end bones. We've got some sockets. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into my character. Let's collapse this down so you don't get lost. We're gonna go into my character that I brought in. We've already retargeted it. Let's double check. We're going to retarget them again just because it doesn't hurt to do it again. If you do not see your mannequin here or your anytime you're trying to retarget a character, if you don't see what you're looking for in here, that means you haven't set this retarget manager up or it's not saved. So just understand that. So we're going to retarget again just to make sure because ADD, I don't remember if I did. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete this. We want to replace all of the references of the underlying skeleton with the UE4 mannequin skeleton. You'll replace any references. Oh my, that's what I'm trying to do. So thanks, Unreal. It's like you learned from Windows. So now it has gone through and removed its association to the underlying skeleton in all the places where that asset was used. So we're going to go ahead and save all that. Now, humongous thing. Um, because we just deleted a very ingrained piece of that character, you're going to want to right click on your content folder, fix up redirectors. Anytime you delete something of significance, always delete or fix up redirectors. Otherwise, you're going to get those messages that pop up that references are missing. Um, they're redirectors. Unreal Engine, that's my only bone to pick with it, is that it has to do that redirection thing. Now, it's also good to redirect fix redirects on the folder on a little level higher just to make sure. But as you can see, it's not doing anything more when I do it, so we're good to go. Then save all. Okay, so now what we should be able to do is we should be able to come in here and go to any animation montage that exists that's not for the spider. And we're gonna, I don't want to see the bones anymore. Sorry guys. Select only. And we are going to see whether we have a Viking necklace. That's exactly what I was going for. How about a Viking? There we go. We have a whole Viking doing the animation as before. Um, let me be all honest with you. This is why retargeting the skeleton underneath is a little bit dangerous sometimes. You can see the fingers are a little bit wonky. Um, he's got himself a messed up hand. Let's go double check. I'm going to assume SK mannequin. Nope, they're like that in the underlying animation as well. So, okay, it even retargeted pretty well. So, good deal. Good deal. Was that this? No, I don't like the helmet. Nah, I don't want to stare at a helmet the whole time. Do we want a cape? Let's have a cape. Capes are cool, right? That makes you look manly. So, we have successfully retargeted our own character to the Unreal Engine mannequin. Um, I will do another video at another point in time where we'll talk about creating the animation blueprint from itself. But the reason why I did that is because now the locomotion animation blueprint is not one that I have to retarget. I will do a video of how to do that probably after this, to be honest, because I'll retarget another one just for the funs of it. But for now, what we want to do is we want to look for animation blueprints, and we want to be specific. Um, we want to go to his thanks filter. I hate filters. So, as we can tell by my window that is not open, world settings, put my world outliner back over here. I don't know why that got all jacked up. That's not where I keep things. Um, we can see that we are going to be using the sample player BP. So that's this guy. Um, when we hit play, that's the guy we're going to get. And this is what he's going to do. So what we want to do, what I am going to do, what I encourage people to consider is I could go in there and start modding away. But what I want to do is I want to create my own folder structure, and I'm going to call this player. And you know what? I think we're going to have, just in case, we're going to have a character folder. I don't know that I'm going to have multiple playable characters, but we'll see. We're going to have, controller. Might have multiple controllers. Hint, hint, I know what we have. So blueprint structure is totally kind of how you want it. Um, but what I want to point out is I am going to duplicate this, and I am going to say this is my character, my player character BP. So now we are going to pull him down into the my character folder, and we're going to move it here. And then because I move something, what do we always suggest? We always save all, fix up redirectors, fix up redirectors, fix up. Do you see what I mean by I fix up redirectors often? All right. So now, oh, we got an error. Blueprint self is not, therefore target must have a connection. Okay. So we've run into our first thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to um, let's just see what happens if we refresh nodes, because it should be. Yep, just refresh the node. Okay, I don't know if that's never done that to me. It didn't do that to me in 4.2.4. That could be a 4.2.5 bug. So just if you get that, right click refresh. Could be because I'm using a plugin folder that's separate. There's a lot of things that could be. But always refresh nodes that say they're broken, because technically my class inherits from the same parent as his. All we did was just create a copy. So now, because I changed my character to have the skeleton of the Unreal Engine character, we can go in here and we can select whatever mesh that was from my asset pack that we wanted. And now, oops, now we change this to my player character blueprint, and we go ahead and play. And look, it's magic. We have it working. Let's go make sure that he can damage us. We can damage him, that's for sure. Really loudly we can. And he can damage us. Fantastic. Sword's in the right place. And that was stupid loud. Sorry, everybody. Let's check the bow. And our bow works. Fantastic. So, we have just completely gotten our own character. So, what can we do with that? Well, a lot, of course. But really, primarily the biggest thing is now we are free to, if you don't like the key or the behavior of a specific key, or you're going for a different functionality, here's where you're gonna, in your event graph, here's where you're gonna handle all your inputs. Now, merely a suggestion, input pads, if you just look how things are implemented before you go off and just start deleting. Because, for instance, um, I know Roosevelt, as long as ever there's nothing majorly wrong, I'm going to put both these videos on YouTube. So you can see sprint is actually not working like a sprint we would normally do, and that's because the locomotion component is in charge of marshaling our character speed. A little bit about the combat framework. I've seen a lot of people asking about merging with ALS version 4. It's flexible enough you can. You 100% can. I'm not going to say you can't. Because really, you remove this locomotion component and there you go. However, that's not really how it's going to be. Because the locomotion component controls all your states, which, if you want to be able to access a movement speed, um, yeah, where did those go? If you wanted to access a movement speed as as an attribute, which I don't know if they're there, or as a parameter, yeah, movement speed, then you're going to have to wire that all into ALS to make that behave the way the framework is supposed to work. That's the first example of why I say migrating into ALS version 4, if you want to do it, you can. I may even end up putting a video together on how to do it, but the reality is you're missing out on a lot of what the Ascent Combat Framework does for you with its blueprints. And we'll see that more as we build an action and kind of how that works. So um, that's Roosevelt. Don't go anywhere, by the way, because I'm going to end the video here in a second. just so that we have good breaks in between what we're doing. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So I'm literally going to stop for less than 30 seconds. Um, Next, I think what we'll do is we will retarget the animation blueprint that comes with the framework. The animation blueprint being this sample animation blueprint instance. Because what we're going to do to give you a sneak peek is we're going to come in here and we're going to start soon, very soon, we are going to start um, creating actions and move sets. I'm going to be honest, I haven't delved a whole lot into this. I've only replicated what's in the tutorial character, but I have a metric load of assets that I'm going to do some retargeting and going to be doing a lot of things. So I hope you stick around. Um, if not, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a subscribe so that I can upload in better than 360p graphics. I don't need donations. I don't want donations. I just want to be able to not be in 360p because it's terrible. So I will be right back.